Just started, or are you asking? We'll just start the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in a family. We were in the church all the time. Sundays, Wednesday nights, Sunday nights. It seemed like we were always going to church. There was 5 of us kids, and that was something that my parents really believed in. That was something more on my dad's side of the family they kind of pulled us into, and for a while it was forced. Once I hit the age that I realized that it was kind of a forced thing where they weren't asking me, that's what we were doing on Sundays, that's what we were doing on Wednesdays, is we were going to church. And so I think that made it difficult for me at times to want to go as I got older. And once I made it to college, then kind of chose to take a step back, have a little bit more control of my life, therefore stop going to church. That was something that gave me another day of the week to not have to spend doing that. And so that was kind of where I was when I met Sid.
My family didn't really go to church that much. It was more of like, I don't know, once every 6 months, they're like, oh, maybe we should go to church. So then I'd go. But when I met Corben, I believed in God, but I wasn't close to him, and I wasn't actively going to church or anything like that. And so that was kind of where we were when we were met. We both kind of had fallen out of going to church and being close to God, but we both still believed in God. And so we kind of met, 2020 online. Definitely was like weird time, COVID. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't really go out and meet people. So yeah, then we had our first date, and then I think both of us kind of knew, like, I think this person's probably gonna be it for me after one date. And that's kind of, I don't even think it was a year after being together that we ended up getting married. So
Yeah, engaged
engaged,
a year
yeah,
after,
yeah.
and then got married 6 months after the engagement.
yeah.
Smile.
You're so sticks at me. And then 4 of those months we weren't even together because I was doing training, and so planned the whole wedding apart, weren't even together. And then I came back from training, and then within about 3 weeks we got married.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty all quick.
Then shortly after, 2 months after being married or so,
Yeah,
July,
yeah.
2-3 months after being married, then we got pregnant, and super scary, exciting. We, it was planned in a way, and as time went on, we were kind of trying to figure out, how do we tell our parents? How do we do? It was a very exciting time, and
It just happened, like, immediately. Yeah, and so we're like, oh, this is crazy. Like, we were just super excited, and I think that,
you were scared.
yeah, I was
I
scared.
remember.
There was a couple nights of crying, like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, maybe we weren't ready, and
We ended up losing then our first child there 8 weeks after, and it was tough. I was working in Des Moines at the time, and so got a call, and I was trying to rush back, and she was already at the hospital, and that was everything was very happy and building aggressively, and that was a low. That was kind of the first one that we had to conquer together, and you can kind of talk
Yeah.
about it.
those nights of, like, crying, be like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I don't know if we're ready for this. And then when we did had the miscarriage and we lost them, it was just like, I kind of felt some guilt, like, of those nights that I was crying. I felt some guilt, like, was this because of me? Like, did God think that I wasn't ready because I was saying those things? Like, did I, like, put this out into the world, and he heard me crying about not being ready? And I'm like, sometimes would just tell him, like, I didn't mean it. Like, I was ready. I wanted him. Like, I was just scared at that moment. And it was a lot of guilt, like, this was my fault. Like, this was my fault because I felt like I wasn't ready when I got everything that I was asking for. I was like, we've been asking God for this, and then we got it, and then I was scared, and then it got taken away. And I think that kind of brought me down into, like, this deep kind of hole for a while. And so I was like, sorry.
Yeah.
And so, I was just like, yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was hard for both, and we were we were in a weird time because we wanted to tell our parents and our friends and our family, and we didn't at that point. And so when we lost them, we only had us, and we didn't have anyone else to lean on. And
we were. Do we
and
tell them?
We didn't want to tell them
like,
that we.
That's like
that
hey,
we had, but now we lost, and it.
So we kind of suffered alone together, and we didn't really talk about it much. So it was like we were both kind of just suffering alone, but like together. I guess I don't know.
We were under the same roof, but we weren't.
Yeah.
We weren't ready to talk to each other about it, and it was. I mean, at least a month and a half or so before we were able to have conversations about that. It really hurt.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, sure, it heals. And at that moment, we didn't have a ton of faith. We weren't attending church when we went through that, and so
I think we were mad. You were mad.
Yeah, we were mad, and it's easy to blame someone else when we were mad.
There was still something that we missed, I guess. There was something that wasn't there, that we both knew something was missing. We both knew that we need something more. It just can't just be us and just us to face everything. And now I guess it was just that longing for something more, and that was where we made this active decision. I think, we need to find a church. We need to start going. This is too much for us to handle. We can't do it on our own. And so
and even with that, we kind of made the decision. We want to find a church. We want to do some of that. But it was since the heartbreak, and then the time after that, it was a year. I mean, almost a year or more, because then finding the church, it was that following September, and we lost the first one there in November. So yeah, it would have been shortly. So
it wasn't a quick. It wasn't like a quick. It was a lot of wallowing, and then we're like, we can't do this anymore. We can't stay here anymore. We have to, either we're gonna be unhappy, or we're gonna need to figure out a way to get out of this. And then we saw the bridge. We came here on the second
week they were open, that we heard about it opening up a new church, and we're like, well, we're new to it. They're new to this area, at least. Let's give it a shot. And we came, and I think it felt different. The first day we walked in, and everything was different. I mean, it's in a building that isn't a traditional church. And then we get into the auditorium, and Derek gets up on stage, he says a little bit, and then he leaves the stage, and they turn on a TV to listen to church. And it was
what's going on?
Yeah, we were like, oh, I just remember whispering back and forth, oh, he's not going to talk. He's not. So now we're just going to listen to the screen. Who's the guy on the screen? And it was so interesting. And then it was after that service, though, I remember just talking in the car and be like, that was so different. But I paid attention, and I got stuff out of it, and it was good, and during that message, I don't recall exactly if it was Marty or who it was that preached that Sunday, but in there it was talking about trusting in God 100%, giving 100% of your trust and faith to God, and I think that's what we were missing, and we realized that then on just that first day is we need to start trusting in God 100%, and that became a saying in our house, and we would say it to each other when we felt that there was something that no, we need to give it to God. We need to trust in God 100%. And so there shortly after, in October or end of September, then we got pregnant again, and terrifying. The difference between the excitement / fear that we had before, now this was just fear, because you can only assume it's going to end bad. I mean, it ended bad the last time, and so we kept telling ourselves we need to trust in God 100%. I guess as our time grew, we realized, okay, we're going to church on Sunday.
We need more.
Yeah, and we didn't know anybody. Yeah. We were going to church on Sunday, and it was we're 2-3 months into this, and Derek knew our name from saying hi, at the door, but he was it. We didn't know anybody else, and so it was, okay, how do we get to know people? And then onboarding came up as an opportunity. We're like, you know what? I think we can help out more. And so we chose to do that and got connected with the Bridge kids. And then we got connected through small groups. Mm-hmm. And, small groups was, that's probably what made the biggest difference for us. It gave us the opportunity, especially in a Connect group, you have the opportunity to have people with a little bit more wisdom than you have who have been attending the church. to after a Sunday, I'm so curious and I just want to ask those questions. And Sid takes lots of notes, and she's sometimes hesitant to ask the questions, but
I'd tell him my questions. He'd ask
but
me.
yeah, so we would just go to the small group, and we had Nancy, and we had Brad and Debbie and Jerry and Marty, and just so many people that have been here and that know, and so we were able to just put those questions. Phil and Lona were there, and it was like just amazing to just put questions out to them and let them help us. They prayed with us. They prayed before. They prayed out. And it
was like that instant belonging. Like, this is
Yeah.
what we're kind of looking for. Like, we feel like we belong.
This is our family. These are our friends, and that's the biggest. We don't feel alone anymore. We have people to call. We have people to talk to about the things that we suffer in, and it's made a big difference.